Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin mommy, and it's Monday, March 1st. So happy March. I am here with my weekly stitching update with lots to show you and lots of plans for this coming week. So we should dive right in. First off, I do have a shop update. I want to thank Leanne of Small Town Stitches for calling me on my request. Yes, last time I said, please remind me to, or keep me accountable to work on my, the model stitch that I was working on for my shop. And of course, the very day I put my, my video up, she writes a comment saying, how you doing on your model stitch? So it was kind of funny because it was like immediately, I hadn't had a chance to work on it yet, but I appreciate it. And I did get it done this week, so I'm very excited. So I have that to show you. This is listed in my shop as well. So, okay. I'll give you a refresher. This is the first one that I did. It's a collaboration with my niece, Felicity. And this one is called Introductions. And this is Herschel and this is Lucy, the little ladybug. The ladybug is stitched 1/1. And there are some fractionals around the edges of the bird. I've decided with the various things, the characters will be outlined, but the natural elements, I suppose you could say, will just be straight cross stitching to kind of give it more of a less crisp, detailed background, I guess. So hopefully that is not a precursor of things to come. My first child interruption. And you can also hear, probably, hopefully not, my kids and my other kids are playing outside. So hopefully they're not going to be too noisy, but we'll make this work, right? So yeah, so I was saying the background is going to be just straight cross stitch. It gives it more of a background feel, I guess, if it's not outlined. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. So that's the first one that I did, and I released that sometime last year. And then she made this one, which is called Feeling Fancy. And this also has Herschel and Lucy. And this time they're up in the tree branches strutting their stuff because they're all dressed up. He's got a top hat and monocle, and she's got a bow and like feather plume on her head. Again, she's 1/1 and he's 2/2, and the sticks are full crosses, no outlines. This one was 28 count ice blue Lugana, and this one is 14 count vintage blue by Artiste. I was kind of surprised though, this one turned out larger than this one. So either the 28 count is, either the Lugana is soft enough that when you stitch on it, it shrinks up a little bit, which is possible, or this is bigger than 14 count. I didn't actually measure it later, but they're both supposed to be 100 stitches wide. And you can see under here, this is even up and this is a little bit wider on this side. So that was interesting. I'm not sure how that happened, but they're both 100 stitches wide, which I'll try to keep them all 100 stitches wide. This one was about 70 stitches tall and this one's 85, I think, stitches tall. So the height might vary, but they'll all be the same width. And this one I did specifically on Ada because I wanted to show that it is possible to still do the tiny petite stitches on Ada. They are not quite as even. I may show these in a close-up somewhere else because it's hard to focus on this camera. They're not quite as even as the petite stitches that were on even weave, but it still works and it's still cute. So it is possible to do fractional stitches around the edge of Herschel and then the petite stitches on Ada. So I did that. And this is done now. So this is in my shop ready to go, and you can find both patterns, either instant download or print copy, available there. So that's exciting. Right now I'm working on a pattern request for a customer, and then I'll go and start charting the next Herschel and Lucy design and get that model started as well. And hopefully at some point I can work on some more of her designs that are, I'm just gonna put up the computer mock-up. I'm not actually gonna model stitch them. But I figured all the Herschel and Lucy ones were so cute that they needed to be model stitched first. So I'll go ahead and keep doing that and plugging away on those. Let's see. I guess we can dive into stitching. So first off, we have travel stitching, my typography, which is another one of my patterns in my shop, along with some other temperature designs like the tree, which is the most popular one. I'm sure you've seen it everywhere. So I did 2 more letters. Seems like at least in February I've been doing 2 letters every week. This is where I'm at now. This is 1/1 on 28 count, like an ice blue, not ice blue. It's like a pale blue Lugana, or not even weave. I don't know what fabric this is, so I'm just kind of guessing. It's lighter blue than the light blue at Hobby Lobby, and I think it's lighter than this Lugana. It's just a slightly different shade, and this is Lugana, and this is it's a herdier even weave. So it could have been something that was purchased at a craft store like Monaco prior to now, because I know they've discontinued like any colors. You maybe can still find white, but this was gifted to me, so it could have been something that was available a while back. So anyways, I digress. My letter A was quite the clown color because we had been warming up, and then we got this high of 56 or something right there. So I got another purple thrown in there into February, and then it kept going warm again into the 70s, which the greens here are 70s. This lightest green, I think, dipped into the 80, 81 up there, but we haven't gotten back up that high yet in February. So I don't know about this last few 3 or 4 days that'll be for the Y. I could do it today, but I'll probably just wait and do it this weekend. Probably do that and then start in on the M in March. March will be, we'll have more days per letter than February has, because there's more days in the month and fewer letters in the word March. And so the stripes are smaller. So I'm not sure how many, actually have it written down. I decided at some point on my little printable calendar that I found online, I decided to mark off the chunks of letters. So see, this in February, I had 3 and 4 days per letter of February, but here in March, I've got like, what is that, 6? Yeah, so there's like 6 letters in here. So before I come back, I'll come back to film on the 8th, but my last stitching opportunity before my filming date is the 7th. So I'll be able to work on this on Sunday. So if before I come back, I'll make sure to wait and do it on Sunday, not Saturday, and I can do this one and this one on Sunday. And then I can show you the first letter of March. So that'll be fun. I'll have to make sure to wait a little bit, because I've been doing them on Saturdays while we watch BattleBots with the kids, but if I only have, I could, I guess, still just do the Y in February, and then move on to my Prim Stitch series piece during BattleBots, and then do the M for March on Sunday. That's possible, but it'll have to change now that there's more days per letter. I'll either do what I can on Saturday and leave the part of the letter undone, or just wait until. I like to wait usually, because if there's a duplicate color, it's nice to just do it back to back, or rather than tie off my string and come back with the same color later. So anyways, this is Faith and Endurance number 7 of the Prim Stitch series. This is my other piece that I'm working on here and there whenever I have a moment, either in the car or again with shows that we watch that I don't need to pay attention, which are not that many, but sometimes. I got some time in the car this week we went to IKEA, my husband and I, so I got to stitch then. But overall it doesn't look like I got as much accomplished as I did, but it is what it is. So I finally finished the church, and this is compared to last time. This is 1/1 on 25 count vintage cloth in the color Prim. And I went ahead and ripped out the roof and re-stitched it with 2 strands because it seemed too light. The coverage was too light. And then I satin stitched the steps, and there are some gaps in there, but they're straight up and down satin stitches with 2 strands. But I think I'm okay with that. And then I went ahead and did the elongated cross stitches on the side of the church as well. So now the church is done. And I had a wonderful, I think it was Cheeky Mare. They were really kind, and in their free time put together a little graphic explaining this stitch that I'm doing on the side of the church, because I was having a hard time explaining what I was talking about. So there's a graph that I'll put up here that shows an example of 2/2 stitches, 1/1 stitches as compared to 2/2 stitches, and then the elongated cross stitch that I have been doing on this church, the siding of the church. So that's how they compare to each other. So when I was saying I'm stitching it over 2 blocks on the fabric, I'm not actually stitching, I'm literally stitching over 2 blocks, which when you usually use the term over 2, you're technically stitching over 4. Only, you know, clear as mud, right? So anyways, that graphic is very helpful. So thank you very much for that. So you visual learners, hopefully that helps you. Moving on to my Mill Hill Mondays piece, which I'll be working on later today. This is Winged Monarch, my buttons and beads kit. First Mill Hill ever. I'm still really enjoying it. Still have all the beads and button ready to go. I'll probably wait till the end to do that. I sometimes bead as I go, but in this case I think I'll wait till the end. So here is where I'm at now. Last week I decided to backstitch the black in the butterfly, so that made nice detail on the butterfly, which is really cool. It'll be fun to see the side-by-side look of that. There's some antennas up here as well. I double checked the antennas to see if I needed any more background stitched, and I didn't, so I went ahead and did the black back stitching. I think I was waiting because I thought I needed more background up in here, but right here most of this is actually beads. So, and I think there is some background in here, but it didn't affect the antenna. So so today I might work on the back stitching in the flowers, because I think that will also be something that is not affected by background. I do have another like 2 greens to cross stitch and background color that's very similar to this. So, but I kind of feel like doing the back stitching. It's kind of cool to see that give a little pop of definition. So I think I will work on that today. And it's like a green, I mean a pink and a purple, I believe, maybe. That'll be used for the back stitching, maybe burgundy for both of them. I'm not really sure. I'll have to take a look. You'll see next week. See what it looks like. So I think that is everything random. So we can go into main projects. So my first thing I worked on was to celebrate Belinda Ozzie Stitcher's birthday. So I worked on my last birthday start, Garden Prelude, and worked on that for actually 3 days to try to get finished what I had started. Decided to start working on the violin, and it took me 3 days because of not a ton of stitching time on any of the 3 days. So I went ahead and just kept working on it because I really wanted to get this to a good stopping point. So here is where she's at now compared to last time. So this is on 32 count Lugana in Wedgwood by Color and Cotton. And that's a pretty accurate likeness there. It's a nice gray blue, a cool gray blue. So I went ahead and did all the cross stitching in the violin. There's a hole here because that's where her hand goes. Her arms come through here to hold the violin. And then this is the bow. It's backstitched in Kreinik, which is kind of cool. A little unusual, but... And I went ahead and backstitched the strings on the violin with single stitch backstitching, and I probably should have done long stitches, but I don't know that I want to go back and change it. It still sparkles, so I thought about it later. I'm like, they're strings. They should probably be straight stitches instead of little back stitches, but it's fine. If it really bugs me later, I can fix it, but I don't really want to frog Kreinik backstitching in the middle that's over cross stitches because it'll be really hard to get to pull it out. So I'll probably end up leaving it. So anyways, I got that stitched and it's turning out really nicely. I think I want, I'm not sure what I want to do on this one next. If I want to work on her arms more to make it look like, you know, a little more normal, like she's holding the violin, or work more on the border so I can work over to some flowers as well. There's a lot of ways you could go with this. So, but I'll probably at the very least bring this out again in May for Mirabilia Mania, which is what I'm going to do in May. I think I still like that idea. I'm not sure what plans Full Coverage Fanatics has for May. I can't remember. Oh, it has like a Wheel of Fortune game, like a month-long thing. So that's probably gonna mess with my plans for Mirabilia Mania, but we'll see, because I really think my Mirabilias have taken a hit since I found Pattern Keeper and have fallen in love with full coverage pieces. So I feel like I'm devoting more time to full coverage, which is good in some ways because full coverage needs a lot of attention to get anywhere, any progress made. But conversely, my Mirabilias have not been worked on in a long time, and I have quite a few of them. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what the May plans are in Full Coverage Fanatics, if I can somehow do a little bit of both, or if I should just take a month off from that and focus on Mirabilia all month of May. So kind of wait and play it by ear for that one. At the very least, I'll probably still do my daily full coverage piece for the 21,000 in 2021. So I'll still get some full coverage, scratch that itch a little bit in May, but my main pieces may end up all being Mirabilias. So I have enough of them. So I want to try to, it'd be nice to give them each like 4 days maybe. I don't think I could give them each a week because I have more than 4. So I'll have to wait and see. I haven't actually planned that far out. Next I worked on Dragon Ride. This one again got like spanned a couple days because I was making up time after I spent extra time on Garden Prelude. So the first day I worked on it, I finished up my string that was already on my needle and worked on it in this area. Got that color finished off in my in that area, and then the following day I came back and I wasn't sure how much time I wanted to spend on it, but I went ahead and backstitched the feathery bits in his head and then called it good. So that's all I worked on this time. I wanted to have something to show for it, but I didn't necessarily want to spend a long time on it because I still had other projects that I still wanted to get to. So I'll do the before and after a little bit closer because this is the only area I worked on. This is 28 count even weave by MCG Textiles in light blue. This is what used to be at Hobby Lobby, but they have an artiste brand now. It's slightly different. So this is mostly 2/2. The part I worked on here in the dragon is 2/2. The man is 1/1, but I didn't work on him this time. So I finished out some of this blue in here, and then I backstitched his green hair fluff and then this purple hair fluff thing down here. So that's what I got done. Gives it some definition, and it's coming along a little bit more. Not quite as much as sometimes, but still something. So here's all of it. And it's pretty cool. Keep plugging away at that every month for at least a day, and I don't think my son is going to stop liking dragons anytime soon, so I think I'm okay to keep working on it as I can. next I did a couple full coverage pieces. I worked on Birdsong, which was partly for, maybe all, it was just for the bookshelf challenge for in full coverage fanatics for the theme romance, and I believe it was because of the flowers in it, and there's 2 birds in it, so it's kind of lovebird-esque. Tatiana Fedorova is the artist, charted by Hayden. This is the mini version, and I'm doing mine on 40 count, 1/1. And I enjoyed working in some parked threads this time. So I didn't get them all worked in, but I got a good amount of them worked in. So here is where I'm at now. This is 40 count Vertil by in white. I believe it's a Zweigart linen. It's an even weave. And 1/1 half stitches. So I picked up there's some white stitches in here that you can't really see. That's what I did first. You can kind of see them there. And then a lot of these, I just picked up the colors, did a lot of these blue flowers a little bit down here to finish out a thread, and some in the bird. This is a bird right here, and a little bit more in here, but mostly flowers, I think is what it ended up being. But there's still a few strands here. So next time I work on it, I'll keep chipping away at those. And somebody asked how I know what color or what symbol, I guess. I don't know what the question was. When I park, I have it marked on my chart where this is parked. So it's parked, it's marked on my chart in the corner where I have it, so that I know that's the symbol that this thread is. And so when I pick it up, I know that this is the X or whatever the symbol is, and then I'll just keep going with that everywhere else. And so that's how I know. I have it marked on my chart. So yeah, and so whenever I park something, I make sure it's marked so that I know that when I come back to it, I know what it is. So, and I do believe I have one of my old Stitch With Me videos talks about that a little bit too, if you want to go look at that. And I know there's a lot of other people as well who talk about parking. The video that helped me feel confident to try parking for the first time was Carolyn Mazzio's video about parking. She doesn't do current Flosstube videos, but she used to do them, and I believe they're still up and active, and that's what finally helped it all click in my head and help me try it. I'm currently stepping back from parking because I feel like with Pattern Keeper, my brain prefers cross country. So I am parking on at least one piece, but I know parking works for a lot of people. So if it's something you're interested in, feel free to check out the various tutorials about it and give it a try, because maybe you'll like it. And then the next one I worked on, which was to finish out the month of February in honor of Black History Month, was African Woman with Peonies. So I worked on this on Saturday and Sunday and got almost 1,000 stitches. It was like 955 stitches, half stitches. And I'm very excited about where I got to. I had told you last time I was planning to work across the top, and it'd be cool to eventually be able to get to these flowers and her head. I got to them. I had no expectations that I would get to anything fun this time, but I made my way all the way across, hit the end of the piece, and have a good chunk done in this gray leaf right here, as well as her face. So cool. So where is this? So here this is now. I'm so excited, and I'll maybe put it up high to compare it up and down because it's so wide now. But this is the entire width of the piece. This is on 25 count vintage cloth in the color Prim. Same stuff I'm doing the Prim Stitch series on, but I'm doing this 2/1 half stitches. And I'm working along the top, picking colors. So you'll see all of these are filled in now. I did some of them over here. and it's all solid background. There was some more grays here, so I did those in here, and I kept going, and the different colors I picked ended up coming all the way over here. So I was following my own rule with going across the top row and picking colors. I did try to stick to the top as much as possible because I wanted to see how far I could get. So the only time I broke my rule was when I was over here a few rotations ago and decided to come down and do this red flower because it was so close to the top that I couldn't just not do it. But this is a piece that I started from the very beginning doing it this method, working across the top. So it's really fun to see that come together. So I'm liking that. So this is the leaf that I was talking about that's in the vase right there. And so the rest of the flowers are right here. This is still her hand, you can see. And then this is the edge of her head wrap, and then her forehead right here. I think her first eye is right here, her eyes. So this is a shadow on the side of her face. So super cool. I'm so excited. So this is one that's by Artisy. So it's not, Artisy. It's not as big or as detailed as Heaven and Earth Designs, which is part of the reason I am making so much headway. Not quite as much confetti, but still enough to make it very cool. Nice, a decent amount of detail. And I started that with, I jumped on the Sal bandwagon with Denise over at Black Ribbon Stitch Studio and Colette the Highway Stitcher. They had started it together, and then I kept seeing them working on it and said, I just want to do that. Can I come? So anyways, I started that, and I'm really excited to work on that every once in a while. I will work on that again for one day in March. Not this week, but I believe the following week. So that's all I worked on this past week, I think. Typography. Yeah, so going into this coming week, I have a full spreadsheet or full spread of projects in March. I'm going to work on a different project every day, mainly because of Full Coverage Fanatics History Sprints Challenge. And so this is the month-long event that they have in Full Coverage Fanatics for the month of March, and they had 20 dates of interesting things in history that happened in March, and I'm going to do 18 of them. A few of you commented on the one that's the theme of horses, that I have my fantasy triptych has a horse in it, which is this one. They're both riding horses, but that's not full coverage. This is a full coverage event, so I have to use my full coverage project. So I don't have any horse pieces that are full coverage. So I'm going to do 18 of these, and I decided to give each one day. I'm not doing the counting version. If you count, you need to do the amount of stitches as there are in the year that goes with that event. And I'll be just doing the theme. I'll be going with the theme. I'm going to give each one day, and the other days I'm filling in with non-full coverage projects. So I will have a mixture most weeks. This first week, it will be all full coverage because I have a lot of these at the beginning are all that first week, and then you get more gaps as you went down. So there was more places for me starting next week to fill in some non-full coverage pieces. So I'll share with you the item and the event and the theme, and then what I'm doing with it and when I'm going to stitch it. So March 1st, I'm planning to do, well, okay, on here, the first one was March 1st in 1872, Yellowstone becomes the first national park, and the theme is landscape. So I have a national park full coverage. So it's not Yellowstone, but it's Yosemite. So I had to do that for this one. So this is Waterfall in Yosemite. It's the mini, it's a golden kite pattern. I also I'm really behind on responding to comments, so I'm sorry, but it is hard for me to get in there and do that. I have had a few comments recently about golden kite patterns and how I have so many and they're really expensive, and I agree. They're really expensive. I feel bad showing them sometimes because when I bought, I think all of mine, they had a different price structure. It was like at least 10 years ago, and they have since changed their price structure, and they're all a lot more expensive now than they used to be. So they were still expensive. When I bought them, I would go with, wait till they were on sale, and then I would buy 3 at a time because then you get a shopping cart discount, which helped, and bought them sporadically, so it would be not too much money all at once. And then at some point I figured I have enough of these, I'm good, because Golden Kite uses more of the art antiquity paintings and things with their charts, whereas Heaven and Earth Designs uses modern alive designers artists with theirs. So that's Heaven and Earth Designs has a few older artists, but most of their stuff is current. Golden Kite I think is all older. So I think I realized I had enough that I was happy that, especially since their price structure changed and they were a lot more expensive now, that I probably won't buy anymore. So I'm kind of bummed that I show them all the time because they're going to take me decades to finish. And now if you guys want them, you can't get them as easily because they are more expensive. But I would encourage you, if you do really want one, wait for a sale, because they get on their newsletter, their email newsletter, and they do have sales regularly. Like something's always on sale. It just rotates what is on sale. So keep your eyes open. If a particular chart has caught your eye, wait till that one's on sale and then wait and get it then. And if you have more than one that you want, they do have a shopping cart discount if you get at least 3 at the same time. So I hope that helps, but they are expensive. There's really no way around that. So anyways, my first one, which I will be working on today, I guess, is Waterfall in Yosemite. Looks like I have some string here already on my needle ready to go. So this is, I'm currently in the sky. So even though I have these parked threads, I haven't been bothering with them quite yet. I really want to get the sky finished. So here's where I'm starting from. Maybe I'll just do a full shot, and I'll just do a little small, I won't do a side-by-side with this one because it's too big. This is the one that I will be stitching on once Quick Stitch Iris is finished. I'll be trying to work on this one every day to try to get the sky finished and to just make some good progress on this. This is on 18 count antique white Aida with 2 strands, and I'm over here in the sky. So maybe I will just do this because I'm planning to work in the sky. Then you can have a before and after of the sky. That doesn't work. So I'll just show that closer, and then we can do a before and after of the sky. So I'll be working over here. Today, we'll see how much I can get done. Mondays can be busy sometimes, and I won't really be able to play much catch up this week because every day is a new project. So I'll hopefully make some good progress each day and be satisfied with how far I get. So that's the first event. The second event is on March 2nd, 1882, Queen Victoria narrowly escapes assassination. And so the theme is royalty or England. And I decided to go with Empress Eugenie because that's royalty. She was, I believe, Italian, maybe? It's a German painter, I think, but she might be an Italian empress. In any case, she is royalty. So I believe this is Empress Eugenie, and then all of her like ladies in waiting. So I decided to work on this one for that. That'll be tomorrow. This is in my super big, my largest, I don't know, this isn't wrapping paper because it's super thick. I forget what this came from, what that tube came from. It's my biggest tube. This is where I'm at with Empress Eugenie. Still pretty small start, only in the background. I will be in the background for a little while, but again, I'll try to work my way across the top. And this one is on Dove Gray Monaco, 2/1 half stitches. And I had to do this with 2 strands because there are blends, because it is, again, another Golden Kite pattern. So this one has a solid color version in Golden Kite if you did not want to do blends, but I preferred the detail the blends provide. So I went ahead and got the full regular blended version. Because blends don't really bother me, it just limits your ability on what you can stitch it on. I was going to do this on 40 count 1/1 half stitches to make it not quite so large of a finished dimensions, but then I remembered the blends. I think, oh well, I guess I can't do that. Back to 28 count. The next event is on March 4th, 1774 is the first sighting of Orion Nebula, the constellation. So the theme there is outer space, sky, stars, moon, sun. So I decided to work on the Nativity because this one has some stars in it. And I actually have a few stars already finished over here on page 1. So I thought that would work for that. This one is on white Monaco that I got at a craft store. Don't know if they still sell at the craft stores or not, but there we go. That gets all of it in there. I finally got all the park threads worked in. I do have a string on my needle right now, so that's where I'll be starting. Page 1 is done. And then the last few times I've been working on this, I was working in the parked threads. So those are all finished now, and I'm ready to keep going. So I'll, again, focus on moving across the top. So we'll see how far I get. In one day. That'll be the trick. See how far I could get in one day. Oh no. And some of my tubes are just what the fabric used to come in the big box craft stores. So not too high tech. The next one is March 4th, 1924. Happy Birthday to You, the song, was first published. So the theme there is your favorite whip or a gift. So this one is, I decided to do 3 sisters because it was actually, the pattern was a gift to me. So I'm not doing this for somebody. This represents me and my sisters. This is me, my older sister, and my younger sister. We all have different color hair. I was a lot blonder as a kid. And my older sister's hair is a lot darker too, but she is a natural redhead, and then my younger sister has really dark brown hair. So we all, when we were little, this is a lot closer to what we look like. So this has always made me think of me and my sisters, and so I'll probably be keeping it, and it'll probably take me the rest of my life to finish it. But this was given to me by my mother-in-law, the pattern. Which is another way to get a Golden Kite pattern, is to ask for it for Christmas. You just might get it. So this is also on 18 count Ada. This is on 18 count white. So I have a lot done extreme cross country on this first girl, and I have a lot of the parked threads finished in here. I still have a lot right here. So I may work on these, getting these worked in this time, just to get that project, that goal accomplished, all the parked threads finished. In one day, I don't know that I could get all of them done because there is a lot of confetti up here in the background. But we'll see what I can do. Every little bit helps, right? I think confetti, working in parked threads will probably be something that's easier to do on one day than tackling the face more, because usually with that face, I like to pick a color and work on it throughout the entire face before I finish working on this project for the rotation, which that face is like over like 6 pages. So trying to pick a color and make sure you get it all on the whole section takes a little bit of time. And so at least with Pattern Keeper, it'll be a little bit easier. Before, I was doing the extreme cross country over 6 pages on paper in my binder with a highlighter. So using Pattern Keeper will make it go a lot faster, but still there's a lot of stitches covered in one color throughout her whole face and hair area. So just working up in the green with those parked threads, I think will be a nice thing to do for only having one day to work on it. So the next one is on March 5th, 1461. Henry VI was deposed by Duke of York during the War of Roses. And so the theme there is flowers. And I couldn't not work on this because this is pretty much the only theme that this works for is my quick stitch iris. And I just realized I forgot to show you my progress. So you'll get to see progress from last week and the starting point for this coming week. So I am working on this every day except for Mill Hill Mondays. I want to get at least 65 stitches every day, but most of the time I'm actually getting closer to 80 because I usually pull a length of thread and it's about 24 inches, and it gives me about 80 stitches-ish. So it's nice to just finish the string and start fresh the next day rather than stopping at 65 exactly. So I'm ahead. I'm ahead of where I needed to be. So this is where I'm at now on quick stitch iris compared to last week. This is on 25 count 1/1 full crosses, and I am definitely on course. This is the bottom of the design, so I'm just gonna keep, working from the top down, filling it in, and I'm loving this. It's really fun. I worked more in this flower, worked more over here in this background area. I think I might have done a little bit over here, but mostly this side, I think, this time. So this is also my starting point for the 5th, when I'll give this my main attention all day, not just one length of thread. It'll get all my focus time that day. And I added up my stitches for February, and I got almost 2,000 stitches in the month of February, and I had more than 2,000, like 2,100 in January. So if I'm averaging 2,000 stitches a month, then that will get me to 24,000 in 2021. So I'm ahead, which is good because I'm sure there will be days if we go on vacation or life happens and I'm not able to get to it, there will be days when I can't work on it. And so it's nice to have that cushion right now. Yeah, so that's good. The next one I'll work on is the event for the 6th of March in 1521. Magellan discovers Guam. So the theme in this one is islands and ocean. So I had to come over and work on my Princess of the Sea, mini Princess of the Sea. This is artwork by Donna Gelsinger. She also did the nativity that I am working on. I like her work. It's very, very sweet. This is one, also Dove Gray Monaco, which is what I'm working Empress Eugenie on. 2/1 half stitches. And this is where I am. I also have some sky color on my needle, so that's where I'll be starting. I will try to be good and work on background as much as possible. I love her. She looks so great. The colors are a lot more saturated and rich than they are in the printout that I have because my printout was a toner save mode printout in the first place. But I think she looks great. So pretty fun. So I'll be working on her on Saturday, and then Sunday, the last one for this week before I film again, at least that's the plan, will be on March 7th, 1876, Alexander Graham Bell patents the telephone. So the theme for that one is type of communication. So this one was not a telephone, but it is a type of communication. So I decided to work on where is this one? I have these alphabetically, but it doesn't make it any easier to find them sometimes. The love letter, which I did work on last week, I think. So, but she's got a letter that has been written to her, presumably mailed or delivered by a footman or somebody. So that was a method of communication prior to the telephone. And even today, you can still receive letters. So I will be working on the love letter for this one. And I worked on this a little bit last week, I think, or like the week before, and started to work on the parked threads. So I'm excited to keep working away on that, getting the parked threads done. So this is the starting point for this week. This is 25 count, 2 over 1 half stitches. And last time I worked on the part threads that were right here, so I got all of this kind of added. So I'll do these 2 first. These 2 part threads will be gone next time. And then I'll probably come up here and just start chipping away at these. I'm not sure if I'll start with these ones first or up here to wait and see what I'm feeling like. Probably these ones. Especially on a single day. These ones will be confetti stitches, so there'll be more counting involved, like some of these things down here, whereas the background colors will be up, like more dense, so it'll be easier to count and we'll go a little quicker. Get more stitches in the time I have available. So I'll probably start with those background part threads first, once I get the 2 at the bottom finished. So that's what I have to work on. 7 full coverage pieces this coming week. Pretty fun. Next week I have 1, 2, 3 non-full coverage pieces. So it won't be all full coverage next week. So I am excited though. It's gonna be fun. I also have on Friday, I just saw this sitting here. I did add it to my my plans. Every other Friday I'm gonna stitch with Desiree on online call. Here it is. We're working on His Name is Jesus together. This is by Joyful Expressions. And so I'll be working on this a little bit on Friday, in addition to my other things. So I'm doing mine on 28 count ivory, 1 over 1. This is Lugana, I believe. And I'm stitching mine with some Victorian Motto threads, blue. This first one is like a navy blue, and then I believe it's called Sampler Blues. And then I've got a rich red and gold as well. So I'll be just working my way across the top. So when I finish Prince of Peace, I'll do whatever the next little phrase is there, and just keep working the phrases, you know, like a typewriter along the top. Because that seems to work the best with the way I hold my fabric in my hand. I'd like that top stuff done first. So that's my plan. So you'll see a little bit more of that next time too. And I think that's all for now. And I will be now going to help my kids get an early lunch, and my 2 youngest ones get to go to school in person. I'm so excited. My younger daughter, she got to go back last week. She had 2 days in person, half day. And then now my middle son gets to go as well this week. They're still on the hybrid model, so they have half of the day, they have 2.5 hours at school, and then the rest of the time they still have online assignments. And it's 4 days a week instead of 5. So it's still half online, but at least they get to be in person part of the time. So that's a huge blessing. My oldest son is in junior high, and his school has not yet gone back, but Lord willing, in the next month or so, he might be able to go back too. So that'll be really nice. Starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel. It has been almost a year since they all came home. They've been home 24/7 since the middle of March last year, and have been doing online school ever since. So it's been almost a year that they've been schooling at home on their computers. I'm really impressed with their school districts. They've been on the ball. We had assignments from day 1 at home. So I can't complain as far as that goes, but they miss the social part of being in school and some of the more hands-on learning that they need to get. So I'm glad they will be back, because I'm not a trained teacher. There's a reason I chose not to teach them at home. It's not my strength. So I'm happy that they'll get some time in person with their real teacher. So with that, I hope you have a wonderful first week of March, and I will see you, Lord willing, next week. Happy stitching. Bye.